G'day, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin's price, it could double in the next 30 days. Wall Street, they've increased that buying pressure. The London Stock Exchange, they're set to launch Bitcoin ETNs while the current US administration wants to tax Bitcoin miners by 30%. The BBC, they're putting out pro-Bitcoin propaganda. The world has verifiably gone mad. We've got a very, very special guest today. Before we bring him on, I want to dive straight into this article here. Time to Bitcoin doubling after previous all-time highs surpassed with visuals. So 39 days on average to double Bitcoin after breaking the previous all-time highs. We have broken the all-time highs. I created these charts myself, recounted back, so it is all accurate. 2013, 30 days to double after surpassing $17. 2013, 12 days to double once surpassing 255. 2017, 1,150. That one took the longest there at 91 days to double. 2021, 23 days to double from basically 20 grand to 40 grand. Once Bitcoin starts moving, it doesn't stop moving, and we're seeing this increased buy pressure. Before we bring on this very special guest, these ETFs, let me share this tab here. Having a fun time on Wall Street. $5.3 billion total volume yesterday. IBIT, $3 billion. GBTC, $1.5 billion. FBTC, $1.4 billion. ARKB, $35 million. And before we bring Chris on, the federal government, the US federal government plan to spend 100 million Bitcoin in 2025. Absolutely absurd. They're obviously not in the Bitcoin standard. They're on that fake fiat money standard, that funny money, that monopoly money. But Biden unveils $7.3 trillion budget for fiscal year 2025. The Biden budget sees us US debt hitting 45 trillion in a decade. Chris, such a pleasure to have you on. Before we went live, we were talking about the most dangerous words within Bitcoin. This time is different, but man, it feels like this time is different. What are your thoughts? You've just gotten back from Bitcoin Madeira. The price is absolutely pumping. Possible we get a double in the next month, which would be soon after the halving. What are your thoughts about the whole market? Everything's shifted. Like it's getting fun again, man.
It's getting fun, yes. The memes are getting better. The excitement, you can feel it. I mean, as I just said, I came back from Madeira, a beautiful Portuguese island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And there were like so many plebs. And the price at that point was already high. And then I think the 4th or 5th of March, we hit like the all-time high again. And everybody, was either popping champagne or whatever the humble pleb equivalent to that is. And I think this time it is going to be different. There's so many puzzle pieces that have been falling in place now. And I think the financialization of Bitcoin as an asset through the ETF and having much more of a household name after, 15 years. Those things cannot be overlooked. But you and me both, we don't want the price to go up. We want to stack more. Give us a little more time, please.
100%. Talking about price, I'll bring it up. So this is the block clock. We are at block height 834,401, 5:39 local time. Sats per USD, it is under 1,400 per dollar at 1,398. The exchange rate 71,545. Before we went live, we were saying, hey, it's fun. Everyone's celebrating. Number goes up. But I'd prefer it to get cut in half and be around 36,000 instead of 71,000 at the moment, man. Like, I don't know about yourself. I went as hard as I could stacking sats for the last 4 years. And I really, truly thought I was doing my best at the time. And then the price is where it is. So I'm like, did I actually work hard enough? Did I put in enough proof of work and stack every amount of Satoshis that I could? I don't know. You've obviously been Bitcoin a lot longer than me. Do you ever feel like it?
But I mean, don't just think of what you have stacked personally. You, as being a part of the Bitcoin community, you've done outreach, you've done education, you have this show going. That is not negligible. So you, in turn, caused yourself to be priced out of Bitcoin sooner because you help the adoption and you help people find this asset. So if we were all being quiet about
Street.
it, it's like a very thin line to walk. We have to, have to be spokespeople for Bitcoin, and then, I think everybody, a friend of mine, an Austrian friend, Nico, always says, if you think you need more than 0.1 Bitcoin, you're not bullish enough.
Yeah.
Where we're going, that's going to be plenty.
Yeah. Especially like when you talk to the likes of Peter Dunworth or whatever, and they're talking about a $7 billion Bitcoin, you're like, okay, like I'm bullish, long-term bullish on Bitcoin, but I'm not that level of bullish, at least not yet. But when you talk to these people that have these outrageous Bitcoin price targets, or even Knut Van Home, everything divided by 21 million, you're like, yeah, I'm definitely not bullish, because they're talking about astronomical numbers. You're like, okay, like that'd be cool. And maybe we're not. So if you've gotten to 0.01 Bitcoin, you can stop buying, and you can leave everyone else some Satoshis.
No financial advice. Everybody has their price. And I always recommend, like, sure, we will see eventually like 1 million Australian dollaridos or whatever per Bitcoin.
Feels like it's almost there, man. Our currency is so messed up.
Yes.
I've got better words for it. Like,
but that does not mean that you have like the purchasing power of $1 million today. It just means that fiat has gone down so much, because there is no bottom to fiat, and we will see eventually a very high valuation. But until then, I spend my Bitcoin. I spend it in many, many places. I try to support business that support Bitcoin, and then offer services for Bitcoin. And then, of course, I try to replace it as quickly as possible to not regret having bought something a year later.
Because it's feeling harder, man. Like you spend it, and then the price moons and it goes up an extraordinary amount. You're like, okay, need to work harder. But it is so good, that circular economy. Yesterday, I had actually a really good time. Orange pilled 6 people. They're really receptive. And I just kept sending them Satoshis. I was just sending them 369 Satoshis. And just that light up is like 40 cents. And but for them just to see how Bitcoin works, and to know, and then to educate them that they own 369 out of Satoshis out of a possible 21 million Bitcoin. There's shift, but I find people are more willing to talk about it now than what they have been in the past. Are you having those conversations as well? And just for everyone in the chat, we've got a couple of news articles to bring up. There's actually quite a bit to go through today, so we'll bring those up. But how are your conversations going with people now?
So I mean, I have 2 sets of friends. We have my normie friends, and I have my Bitcoin friends. And the Bitcoin friends, they have been along for quite some time now. But you used to be ridiculed, like even up to like I think like the ETF. I'm not a big fan of that as a financial product, but just having the credibility that the biggest financial institutions are now investing into Bitcoin, or having an exchange traded fund denominated in Bitcoin, is just such a how do you say? It gives it more credibility, and you're not just the crazy crazy person that believes in magic internet money anymore. Those conversations have definitely shifted. Like old finance, I have boomers like 60 plus talk to me about Bitcoin, and they're asking questions, and that would never have happened if not Larry Fink was now a spokesperson, a champion for Bitcoin.
Man, it's so crazy how much Larry Fink has shifted his tune over the last couple of years, and I think we're going to see that from Jamie Dimon, of all people, soon enough.
Never talk about Bitcoin. This is the last time Jamie Dimon is going to talk about Bitcoin. The last time, absolutely.
Absolutely. I wonder how many times. We should have a counter with that video at the top as a banner. I just want to bring up really quickly today's sponsor before we dive into the doubling of Bitcoin. Ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to talk about protecting your seed. But if you need any help with Bitcoin, especially the IT side of things, the Bitcoin Way has 25 years of cybersecurity experience. Safety Namus, the author of the Bitcoin Standard, the Fiat Standard, Principles of Economics, read the books, read the bugs, also recommends the Bitcoin Way. These guys are really good. They can help you out setting up a node, collaborative custody, making sure your Bitcoin and your seed phrase. And this one, what I want to dive into with with you, Chris, as well, is having an air-gapped wallet, never putting your keys on your computer, making sure it is tight, because this is generational wealth. Some people, if you're holding ETF, obviously this doesn't matter. But if you're actually holding real Bitcoin and you're part of the revolution, make sure your wallets aren't leaking data. When you're buying things that you like, I know that you had an experience with Ledger. I had that same experience as well, where they just put a leak out and they just give everyone's information away. So if you need help stopping hackers accessing your computer, looking after this amazing wealth that you are creating, I've made it really easy. There is a link at the top of the description. Reach out to the Bitcoin Way today, and the first 30 minutes is free. So let's dive into that really quickly, and then I want to talk about the possible doubling of the price. But with Ledger, like we both went through the same thing. I was listening to you on Robin Sayers' podcast. Everyone, you need to join Robin Sayers' podcast. Absolutely brilliant. Interviewed Chris a couple of days ago, and it's up live. Amazing interview. But Ledger leaked all your data. They leaked all mine. And the way you approach Bitcoin security is pretty high level. So do you want to talk about why it's so important? Because these numbers are starting to get astronomical. If people have been here for a while, or even if they've been here since the ETFs were launched and they put in a fair sum of money, it's doubled basically already. And we're just at the start.
For years, I always say your security architecture needs to match a Bitcoin evaluation that's 10 times higher than it is right now. Because this happens much faster than with any other asset. And then if you think, oh, I only have like a couple of grand in there, it's not worth getting a hardware signer. I will do it on my phone or my computer that's connected to the internet. That is not the right way to do it, in my opinion. I mean, you're maybe saving $60, $150 or whatever to get like a proper dedicated Bitcoin-only device. Essentially like a really dumb computer that therefore has very limited attack surface. And if you have a hardware signer, that's great. The next thing, what you just mentioned, the Bitcoin Way, they help you set up like collaborative custody, where you have like a multi-sig, or if you have a time-locked thing where they help you recover if you shoot yourself in the foot. And all those things, they add up to your security, because this is an asset, unlike gold, you can completely own in your mind, in your brain, in your custody. And that security needs to match like the valuation. And it's really not that hard. It's definitely new to everybody who just starts doing cryptography. Like, it was new to me as well, but like it gets much easier over time, and the devices get better, and like the things with the collaborative custody is just such a game changer. And so spend time studying it, put like 100 hours in, and get good advice from people that know what they're talking about. That's my
one thing we always say, and we talk about Cedar all the time, which is a capsule design. Do you have one there? Can you show people what it is?
Here, and cool. It is also engraved with Good Day Bitcoin.
How's it get any better than that, ladies and gentlemen? So Cedar, there's the capsule type design, there's the plates. The one that Chris is holding up there is the Rolls Royce of Bitcoin. This here is the cheapest steel option. Whatever you do, get it off paper. You obviously had an experience. And people, you can check out the last video. Chris and I went really in depth into his personal story, the businesses that he's doing. But when your birth certificate and all that got wet, like, you firsthand know what it's like to have these important documents on paper. So I'm sure your story.
Anything on metal is great. Go to the hardware store, go get these plates that you just showed, or get like a Cedar, and spend some time. It takes like 30, 45 minutes to do this, and then your peace of mind, and your house can burn down, but your assets are still safe.
100% agree. Like, even if you've got a small amount of Bitcoin now, and I know, like I was saying, like, I never feel like I'll have enough, but I'm still content with what I did. And Chris has probably got a more grounded level way of approach, and spend some, just get it back as well. Whatever that amount is, I think we're probably not bullish enough. I've been thinking about this. Like, these ETFs are a total game changer. I know you don't like them. I'm pretty much against them as well myself, and we can dive into that. Bitwise is sort of changing my thoughts in one regard, but only Bitwise in particular with their ETFs. I still wouldn't buy it for myself, but I see a place that it can potentially have with a small allocation. But just having these ETFs here, they've made everything more legit, like these conversations you were saying. But the marketing campaign, basically, and this is how I think Bitcoin's price could potentially double in the next 30 days, the next 40 days. Maybe it takes 3 months. Like, who cares, ladies and gentlemen? The cheaper it is, the longer it is. Like, just buy, stack, and chill and make the most of it. But VanEck, they're slashing their Bitcoin spot ETF fees to zero amid all-time high inflows. And this is all the way to March 31st, 2025. So for like a full year. And the reason they gave, because we believe in Bitcoin so much, starting tomorrow, you can invest in VanEck Bitcoin Trust HODL with no fees until March 31st, 2025. The asset manager wrote. Like, who would have thought Larry Fink would have changed their tune? Wall Street's changing their tune. And there is no marketing department, or there was no marketing department. And now everywhere, the BBC, we've got a video to bring up as well. They are about facing, like, what do you think is the possibility now that everyone's starting to do it? Actually, one more thing that I want to bring up, which is absolutely fascinating, is this chart here. If we can get the computer to switch over, give me a sec. So this chart here, Google search trends over time, it is just really starting to move up now. It sucks that people are starting to hear about it after the new all-time highs. Like, it would have been better to buy it before, and it's still a great opportunity. We're only at like a 1.48 or 1.42 trillion dollar market cap. We've got another 10x in the short term to do, I believe. But this interest coming in, Chris, you've been here for 1 or 2 cycles. Do you think we can get a double in price like it's happened before? Is it going to happen again? Is it going to take longer? Is it not going to happen at all? Is this the top of the cycle? What are your thoughts?
Definitely not the top. There's one
Game over, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't do anymore. Like, I don't do price predictions in that sense directly. It will definitely double. I don't give a time frame, but it will be sooner than you think. And I mean, you have this enormous demand. Like, the ETF are buying up like 9,000, 10,000 Bitcoin a day, and we're only generating 900 from the miners. So they have to buy them on the market to fill those up. And then, like, with the halving, 20th of April, around that time, you have like
420, baby.
It gets cut in half. So the only way, like, the price will be stable if it's like people like us, you and me, the laser-eyed maxis, are gonna sell their coins. And I don't foresee that. So I mean, the ETF changed it. Like I said, I'm not a fan in that sense, but I to me, it's like the boomer API. This is the time in history where, like, elderly people or financial institutions that do not, they can't directly invest in Bitcoin, now have an API into shifting some of their assets that have been losing value into Bitcoin easily. And that is just such a game changer. You see, like, Grayscale, like, bleeding out because they have like 1% of fee. And now you have Bitwise and ARK and whatever, like, with sub 0.3% of fees. Like, for us, it doesn't make any sense, like, to invest there. Like, we can do it ourselves, and paying like 0.3% every year is like, I don't want to do that.
No way.
Like, there's a lot of people with a lot of money that are really, really eager to get their hands on Bitcoin. So yeah, the price will double, but I'm not gonna do any bets. Like, Adam Beck did, like, I think, a bet that it will reach 100K before halving. I'm not. I don't short nor go long on Bitcoin in that sense.
Yeah, it was same thing, and it's something we say on the channel all the time, is do not put leverage on Bitcoin. Don't try trade Bitcoin. Just buy, stack, and chill. And that's all you need to do. And reoccurring buyers, smash buys. Maybe at the moment it's the time to smash buy. Not financial advice, but if you don't feel like you have enough Satoshis and you've got too much of the funny money sitting there, if you've got all that shit hanging around, either fucking rip it up or turn it into those beautiful Satoshis. This is an amazing time to be here. Yes, we're at new all-time highs. Cool. We're going to be at new all-time highs, I think, for the next 2 years, you know, like, we're going to wake up, oh, new all-time high, you know, but it's, even though the market's shifting, people are getting excited. I think the amount of exuberance this time, like, especially X, the community, what we're seeing now, we're not even at the halving, man. Like, it's pretty exciting. Very, very, very exciting. Even Alex Gladstein here have got this one to pull up. We are still early. How do we know the average person, even if they're starting to realize Bitcoin might be a good investment, they don't realize it is positive for humanity with massive social and planetary impact? Only when that is the case will we no longer be early. So obviously Bitcoin's been around for 15 years. It's gone up billions of percent, billions and billions, and it's the best performing asset in human history. But people come for the number go up. You and me both. We came here to get incredibly rich, and you end up getting wealthy, because wealthy is so much more. It's a holistic way of approaching life. But you stay for the revolution, for the technology. You realize it's the fight between good and evil, of truth versus lies. And Bitcoin is that truth that's winning. It's a peaceful revolution, but it is a revolution. I believe we're going to war. What do you... Because it takes a while, I think, to get to that place. And maybe you don't see it like that, but I really think Bitcoin is here to save the world. I think Satoshi gifted it to humanity for net positive. Whether that's true or not, that's the way I see it. But to get to that point, that took a couple of thousand hours, to get to that level of thinking. When you come, you're like, oh, cool. It's like gold. It's digital. Number goes up. Yeah, I see how it's going to keep going up over time. What do you think? Like, are we going to see, because of this ETF, people are just here and they're just here for number go up? Or are we going to get some people and they're going to come over to the bright side, the light side, and they'll be like, whoa, number goes up and we fix the world and Bitcoin fixes everything. Bitcoin fixes this. Do we still get that this cycle? Or?
Yeah, I mean, that is the best outcome. Like, people tend to usually invest first and then learn about it later. Like, people do this with stock, and then, I like this company, and I read about it in the news. Let's put some money in, and then the stock goes up, and then actually, what did I buy there? And the exact same thing will happen with Bitcoin. And they will read the Bitcoin Standard. They will be exposed to like Lynn Alden and Jeff Booth and all these bright people, and they will probably, like, their mind will shift, and then we'll see probably that Bitcoin is not just a solution to not become poorer over time, but also it will fix a lot of things. Like, it's worldwide, global, distributed peer-to-peer cash. And most of the problems people are aware of, but they do not know the cause of that. And the cause of that is the financial system that we have right now, the fiat system, the like inflationary monetary policy. And with Bitcoin, it is really easy to essentially vote with your wallet to opt out of the system. And I think not everybody, but a lot of people will wake up to this. And it's like every day more people will do this. The people in the chat, they are already there. And yeah, we continue to do this. You continue your show, and then let's see, in 20 years, I think we'll be in a much better place because of Satoshi.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think we're fundamentally, when people shift onto that Bitcoin standard, they become better and they do better. Their purchasing power goes up. Their time comes back to them, and then they can therefore achieve greater things. They've got time to be able to think, relax, be present. And I think as more and more people around the world are on that Bitcoin standard, it's like the 100 monkey effect. It's like 100 monkeys on one island learn something, and then monkeys on every other island can now do that same thing without interacting. I think when we get enough Bitcoiners there, slowly, then suddenly, and we probably will see a fairly dramatic shift. And like you say, 20 years, Chris, and that sounds like a long time to some people. But everyone, like, watch and think back over the last 20 years. Like, how quick did they happen for the world to fundamentally change, like at its foundational level, on the level of control, where they've tried to enslave us for the last 4,000 years. And in the next 20 years, Bitcoin fixes that. Like this, like that's crazy. So you're over in Germany, Chris. What are you finding with regulators? I know you spend a lot of time advocating, talking to them. What's those conversations like? Are they favorable, or they're still hostile? And if they are hostile, what nonsense are they coming up with? What lies, propaganda are they spitting back in your face?
I think we need to start like a buzzword piggy bank or something, because people, and they just go by the numbers through a checklist. Only criminals use it. It's using too much energy, and the energy it uses is like all coal, and it's bad for the planet and boiling the oceans. but we're getting there. We're talking to people from all sides of the aisle, and we're having a lot of big projects with TerraHash going on in Germany, making mining in Europe generally viable through the use of stranded energy. And so that is shifting definitely, but we have a long way to go. I mean, if you just look over the pond to the United States, I see a lot of miners now having to tell the government how much electricity they're using, because they want to raise an absurd amount of tax on electricity that is being used to mine, which is like insane. Like, why does the government get to decide what you do with your electricity? You know,
that's right. If you're a fair market player and you're just paying for it, like they generate it and you do whatever you want, and it's not illegal. There's nothing wrong with it. And ERCOT, we've seen in Texas and stuff, are really good for stabilizing the grid. Like it's a win-win for everyone, especially with the stranded energy. And they want to come in with the 30% tax, like absolutely absurd, as you're saying. Do you think over in Germany they're going to try that, or they're actually going to be like, okay, we want this here? Like, do you see that conversation moving towards Bitcoin or away?
The EU is right now funding like research papers into Bitcoin mining with the outcome already decided to make it or paint it in a way or in a picture that it is hazardous to the environment. The EU is also developing an eCash similar system, like a digital euro, like a central bank digital coin. They paid like 25 million to develop the GNU Taler, like Richard Stallman's idea of like an electronic cash that does not have any privacy, but they advertise it as has perfect privacy. Unless you're like the receiver of it, like you have zero privacy because they want to tax you. Like Bitcoin
sounds like freedom is slavery. That's what that reminds me of.
I just see somebody in his chat writing only 6 likes, so smash that like button. Let's get Good Day Bitcoin up in the algorithm.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I just want to first shout out to a couple of people here. Everyone, appreciate you tuning in. VIP bartender with the super chat there. I will send that over to my mates Animal Sanctuary. Thank you very much for doing a good deed there. Let's get it started. Love the show, but we need more F-Off Fridays. I've been contemplating. I was having these Friday banners, man, and I just let loose and I just really unwind and I take this venom out in Jamie Dimon. But then I listened back and I'm like, yeah, that's not the energy I want to put out in the world, because Bitcoin is when there's a peaceful revolution. But then sometimes you feel, or I feel like it's a war. I'm like, going to attack him with spears. But really the message is just buy, stack, and chill. Maybe we'll bring a bit of profanity back. But appreciate that, bartender. And I just want to bring up Diesel Kane talking about the 100 monkey effect. I thought this was pretty funny here. A wise monkey is a monkey that doesn't monkey with another monkey's monkey, speaking of monkeys. Good to see everyone. I'm going to bring this video up. This is the BBC turning pro Bitcoin mining. Turning pro Bitcoin. Like, it's good to see the propaganda is shifting, and then we'll get your thoughts on this. If you've got any questions in the chat, let us know. We've got a few more news articles to get through too, ladies and gentlemen.
The value of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin raced to an all-time high today. The new price is above $72,000. Earlier this year, US regulators made it easier for investors to trade the currency, which has helped fuel the record-breaking run. And now the UK's financial watchdog says it will loosen some of the rules too. Here's Joe Tidy.
For the last 2 years, lines charting the value of Bitcoin have mostly been in one direction. But in the last...
Just quickly on that, I like how they start off in the last 2 years. Like, they start off with a negative to be able to suck you in. Not in the last 15 years, Bitcoin's price. They do get to that. But they start off with the negative to draw people in.
Hang on. Do you see like those candles? Those candles, Japanese candlesticks don't look like that. Like, those lines do not match.
Fair enough. They they got their intern to make the animation. I'm amazed just how much effort though they put into making a Bitcoin advert. Anyway, we'll let them say their thing because they do turn positive.
Few weeks, it's all changed. Almost hourly now, this virtual currency is hitting new all-time highs. The reason? Well, it's mostly down to this place. In January, traders from US investment giants were given the green light by US watchdogs to start selling products linked directly to Bitcoin. As a result, they've spent billions buying up coins. Further stoking the fire, today, UK financial authorities say they too are open to allowing some trading based on crypto assets. Some are now wondering just how far this virtual currency can go.
I feel like we're going up and to the right forever. I'd like to know your thoughts. But isn't that crazy? Like the BBC has been pretty hostile towards Bitcoin. Wall Street comes in here, and just coincidentally, the World Economic Forum is starting to change the programming they're putting out around Bitcoin. The BBC is starting to change it. London's looking at putting Bitcoin ETNs out there. Like that goes sort of back to what we were saying at the start. Like this time is different.
They got new marching orders now. Like BlackRock owns a fair share in the traditional news media, in various newspapers, and of course, if the big boss is invested in Bitcoin or has an interest in it, the journalism is different.
Oh man, it's wild. It's amazing. Like it's cool to see. The only thing that I'm annoyed about with this whole show is they weren't talking about it when it was down in the dumps and giving the awareness to people. Like people they're fundamentally going to get less Bitcoin now at all-time highs than they would have a year ago or 2 years ago, while that price was down, or any time in the last 15 years. But Bitcoin is going to continue to keep going up. $1 million in what time frame? No idea, ladies and gentlemen, but I do see it.
In the end, like at $1 million, doesn't matter if you bought at 50 or 60 or 70,000. Like it doesn't matter. Just stay humble, stack sets.
100%. Are you a reader?
A reader?
Books? Yeah.
Yes.
Would you reckon? No, nice. I haven't read. It's 24, isn't it? The name of the book.
My friend Avi Burroughs' book. If you buy this, there are 24 seed words in there in a riddle, and you can get. I think right now it's 17 million Satoshi, like 0.17 of a Bitcoin, if you crack the riddle. But so far, I think it has been out for like 3 months or so, and nobody has been able to do so. So if you don't have enough Bitcoin yet, buy a book and start cracking.
Awesome. I haven't read that book yet, and I'll rewatch this and then I'll write it down on my book list. Any other books you'd recommend? Like they can be related to Bitcoin or not, but I think it's so important to read the books or people are going to eat the bugs. So what type of books would you recommend for people?
So
that you've enjoyed?
It's difficult for me because the German titles come up now, but like the book that I have given away the most is Jan Pritzker's book. I think it's called Inventing Bitcoin in English. In Germany, it's called Bitcoin Verstehen, but nobody will know what that means. Inventing Bitcoin. That is a fantastic starter, and it's like it was targeted at a high school audience, and he just starts from really basic principles, and it just makes so much sense. It's just a fantastic read. You showed Knut Svanholm's book. If you're interested in praxeology, if you're an Austrian economist, yes,
it's a really mind-bending book. It's really good, hey? What a conversation.
Yeah. So and then the classics like the Bitcoin Standard is a book everybody should read. I have to say a caveat. I do not agree with all of the statements in there, but it opens your mind to different views and perspectives, and I take a lot out of this book, definitely. Like Safedine is a very smart dude, and Lynn Alden, Broken Money, like she's an engineer, speaks to me very, like as an engineer, it talks to me in much deeper levels, and it is a wonderful book. And just recently, Aaron van Wierdum, a fellow Dutch person, he is also a lead writer, and at Bitcoin Magazine, he published the Genesis book.
Man, it's so good.
in how we got here, like the 40 years of history that made it possible that we have Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was not created like just on the 3rd of January
Overnight.
2009. Like there have been, like, Satoshi stood on the shoulders of giants. And the Genesis book by Aaron von Wierdum, that is a must read if you're into that. It's technical, but it's like, yeah, it's not technical. It's a history book.
Man, I'm not a technical person, and I thoroughly enjoyed that book. Like I finished it, I think 1 or 2 weeks ago, and it was fascinating. Like I was glued to the book. And another book, if you haven't read it, Eric Kaysen, Crypto Sovereignty. Have you read that book?
Yeah, Eric Kaysen makes me want to pick up guns.
I'm
very pacifistic, but he's like really, yes. Let's get the revolution started.
Man, like so crazy. I was reading it and we went out to the rainforest to unwind and relax. And I like just sat there, and in that like half day, whatever, I just went through it so hard, and I read 45%. And then I started to talk to my wife about Bitcoin and some of the things. And she's like, Sean, chill out, relax. If I didn't know you, it'd sound like you're on drugs. I'm like, I'm not, blah, 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 blah. She's like, well, she like took the book off me, and she's like, you need to read this book. So I ended up reading the fiction book, Some Bubblegum for the Brain. It was an incredible adventure story. It was a lot of fun. I finished that front cover to back cover. And then I started reading that book again as I wind down in the evening. I think I'm about 60% of the way through it now. And I don't know if he's a genius or a bad man. Like, you're like, holy moly, like it just like blows your brain apart, your mind. You're like,
I think in Riga, and then I saw him like in Madeira as well. Yes, that is not a book I would give as the first Bitcoin book.
No, probably read like 5 or 6 Bitcoin books first. Like it's radical. It's absolutely radical. He'll be in Australia at Bitcoin Alive here in 2 weeks, man. I cannot wait to listen to that talk. I have a discount code. I've recommended your product for a long time. It's a freaking incredible product. You're doing some amazing things. Protect you against fire damage, water damage, tsunamis, all the natural elements. It'll look after your seed. Get it on steel, get it off paper. Discount link below under Seedor. I'll put your X link in there as well. But a final message for the audience. What should they take away? Like this time, Bitcoin really could double in the next 40 days. Maybe it takes longer. Maybe it happens quicker. Time will tell. Things are about to get hectic. It's crazy. The amount of buy pressure that's coming onto the market is insane. $500 million a day just from Wall Street. Nation states are waking up. How should people approach this bull market? And what message for someone that's new and someone that's been here for a while?
Yeah, be prepared.
Sorry. Let me bring...
I'm back.
There we go. Be prepared. That's a good lesson. I'll take it on board.
Yes, be prepared. And read as much as you can. And if you do not own Bitcoin yet, maybe consider getting off zero and start some small dollar cost averaging thing. No financial advice, but in the end, like every child that is being born around me gets a little bit of Bitcoin at birth from me, and I make their parents promise, just wait, don't sell it. Here are the private keys. I do not own a copy. There's some Bitcoin on there, and let's wait. Let's see how this plays out for the next 18 years. And I can guarantee you it either goes to zero or that kid can buy a car or like go to university or do whatever it wants with that freedom money. And you will thank me later. And yes, so that is the thing. Think long term and be prepared for everything.
Yep. Man, what you said there just resonates so hard. Read the books, ladies and gentlemen. We say it all the time. Read the books, read the bugs. Like everyone that's stacking, they're chilling. You're all good. You're not going to eat the bugs. You're doing the right thing. But reading the books, like to go down these people's minds that have really spent a lot of time thinking, contemplating, get their thoughts on paper. I don't think there's anything more enjoyable and mind expanding than doing that. It's been a pleasure. I'll put all your links below and we'll get you back on soon. But for everyone that's watching live or the replay, if you can hit the like button, hit subscribe if we vibe, and do something nice for a random person. Have a beautiful day. Be blessed. Peace.
Good day.